Okay, we are live. Hello again. This is Paul Douglas in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and along with my co-collaborator and search engine bully from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Rob Anspach, uh, with episode 2 of Optimize This, the book. And today, what we're going to actually discuss and talk about is um, essentially share with you that search engine optimization or SEO really isn't rocket science. And a lot of times, so many people will say with all these Google updates that are out there, uh, getting slapped, getting delisted, moving down, getting hurt by these updates. And I'd like to share a story about one of the sites that I created about 5 years ago. It was for a local manufacturer for vending machines. And with everything I was doing to get him set up, I mean, we followed the principles on his website that we'll be teaching during the course of the books and these podcasts uh, about how to optimize a website. But he was always very solid on page 2, page 3, in spite of all the efforts, all the videos, and everything else that we did. But an amazing thing happened about 3 years ago when this smelly little animal from Google called Panda came out, and Panda was their update. And he, a lot of the sites that were ahead of him, that were older, may have had more authority because of their age and some of the things that they've done, got moved down or even delisted as a result of this Panda update. And this client site is now ranking quite well in the search engines as a result of these updates. And we'll share with you what happened in this chapter and why he was able to do that. And if you follow the same steps, you can enjoy the same benefits. And essentially, what the search engines want to do is they want to end search. Um, essentially, what they do when you go to Google or any other search engine for that matter, if you take a look along the top and along the side of that search engine result page, or SERP as we call it, you're going to see ads. And that's how they pay their bills. It's these ads that you see on the search engine result pages and everywhere else on the internet that pays Google's bills and makes them the profitable company that they are. So what they want to do is create a unique and exceptional user experience for you, the Google user. So when you go to Google, what they want you to do is search for something. They want to give you high quality results so that when you click on one of the results that they have listed on that page from 1 to 10, that your question gets answered. So one of the things that when you want to, and we'll cover analytics later on, but when you analyze your website and the traffic that comes to your website, you want to analyze how much and how often people bounce from your website. And what a bounce is, and you've done it yourself, so I'm sure, is you click on a search engine result, you see what's on the page that you go to, say, no, that's not what I'm looking for, so you go and you click the back button and click on the next one. So if you click that back button, that's called a bounce. You're bouncing back to the search engine result page. You want to minimize that. And so what Google's trying to do is minimize how often their users bounce by only putting up high quality content on the results pages of their on page 1. So essentially by creating high quality content for this vending machine manufacturer, we were able to get him on page 1 when Google started changing their rules. And they could do that. It's their game. They could change the rules. And insisted on higher quality content to get the higher rankings. So what we're going to be talking about here is again, it's really not rocket science to get ranked on Google. It's really about creating content for the end user. So many times, so many search engine optimization or so-called SEO experts will say, just get it right, get it done, game the system, you know, and get yourself ranked by the search engine spiders. And what happens is we lose track of what the purpose of the website is for. The website's there to create business or sales for your business, whether it be through leads or actual sales to your business. The website's there to make you money. The website's not there to please search engine spiders. So the first and most foremost rule when it comes to content on your website is to write for the person or the individual or your ideal customer that is going to be coming to your website. Write for the person you want to attract to your website. Because bottom line, search engine spiders are not going to buy your product or service. They're a bad lead for your business. And you don't really, it doesn't really matter if, if you end up ranking well, but you don't convert your customers or your visitors to customers, then what's the point of being on page one?
Correct. And let me add to that is that, you know, when you're looking at keywords and content, the content that you put on your page should be natural. And what I say by natural is when you tell somebody about your product, do so in a conversational tone. Just like, you're listening to me and Paul right now. We're teaching you something, but we're doing so not in a technical way, not in a, industry standard, but in a natural tone. So when you write your copy for your content, it should be in a way that reflects how somebody's going to read it. If you make it too technical, if you make it too industry, heavy, it'll one tell Google, hey, you know what? This is stuffed full of keywords that really, may not be searched at all. It's not consumer friendly, and you need to have a balance. So, we're going to go back to keywords here because too many people have made the mistake of saying, you know what, I want that particular keyword to rank. Well, okay, that's great. But if that keyword is not mentioned anywhere on the pages of your website, it has no relevance. So it goes back to content. Make sure that what's on that page is being ranked or optimized properly. I'll go back to you, Paul.
Absolutely. There's a couple examples I'm going to share about talking about relevance on a web page. Um, there was an individual that had asked me that that's half-day consulting with for his website some time ago, and he was a local photographer. So he actually had, in his business, he did wedding photography, he did wedding videography, he did portrait photography, he did business photography, he also did aerial photography. Now, he had all 5 lines of business on his homepage, which, okay, I can accept that as far as keywords, but then every page also had the exact same keywords. Now, I don't know about you, but I think aerial photography is nowhere near relevant to wedding photography and vice versa.
No.
Okay. And so that relevancy, maybe not so much 4 or 5 years ago when I did this initial consultation, but definitely now, the way the rules have changed with all the updates with Google, that if you're not relevant from the title to the description, even the keywords and the content on the page about what it is, all relevant altogether, you're not going to rank. And even 5 years ago, I saw people suffering because they lacked relevance and consistency on their web page.
Right.
That's one of the key things. I mean, content's going to win. It's always going to win. That was something I discovered in 2003 when I built my carpet cleaning website. I ranked very well because I put a lot of content in it.
Right.
My first website after retiring from carpet cleaning was to be a print broker. And same thing, I ranked very well because the relevance of all the content. I'll be quite honest, I had no clue what I was doing. I just did what I thought was normal, natural, and needed to be done to pass my message on to the end user. I
Right.
wasn't thinking about pleasing search engine spiders. I had no clue what spiders were at that time except critters that would scare my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I didn't write for the search engines. I wrote because I wanted to sell carpet cleaning. I wrote because I wanted to sell printing. And
You know, one of the mistakes that I see, and not to interrupt you, is especially with photography sites. They put a lot of photography on their website with no description of what the pictures are. And I think that right there hurts a lot of sites. They put media up, pictures, videos. There's no description. There's no nothing that says, "Hey, Google, this is what we do. This is how we do it," and it doesn't give the end user, the consumer, any idea what that picture is all about or that video.
well, no, they've got the image source is going to say IMG 253.jpg,
Right.
right? Well, that's a really high-ranking keyword for it, right? I mean, it you're going to have the image source in the HTML. That's you're not going to get away from that. But there's no reason. There's an edit when we go through this. But there's no reason why you can't put a title or a description or even a caption on that photo on your
Right.
website. Not only is it going to draw eyes to that picture, because let's face it, you put a caption under a picture, you're going to draw eyes. That's just simple marketing. That's
Hmm.
why you have captions under pictures on the front page of newspapers, so you can draw people's eyes to it, generate interest, so they read the article.
Right.
Um, Same idea. I mean, marketing is marketing, and a website, if we haven't mentioned this before, is just a form of bringing your message out to your market. It's not the be all end all, but it is a very valuable tool and one that's being used a lot. So the point I'm making with this is, you know, use the tools and use effective marketing with your content and
Right.
create content that is relevant, it's recent, and it's valuable to the end user.
Well, and then also add 4 point that it's unique because you know, coming from a carpet cleaning standpoint, you know, I see ads out there with the same photograph in all of them. You know, like this guy was supermodel and he went out and posed for all these carpet cleaning companies. Well, I'm sorry, but you know, if you're going to share a stock photo, don't. I mean, stock photos are great, and you can use them if you like, but use original photos. And when you use photos, watermark them, because to be honest, those photos are going to gravitate throughout the Googleverse. And when people are typing in, "Hey, I need a photo for whatever," your photo is going to come up regardless of what you try not to prevent it from doing so. It's going to show up. So if it has a watermark on it, you know, people go to that photo and say, "Wow, okay, I can't borrow that because someone else's watermark is on it."
Yep,
Plus, now they know that it's you. It's part of who you are. It's part of your image. So use unique content that is, you know, of a relationship to what you're selling, but that tells a consumer or an end user who you are. Um, you know, I try not to ever use stock photos because there are services out there, you know, Google Search and TinEye and some of these other ones where you can actually upload a photo and see who's using it. And if too many people are using that photo, it tells Google, you know what, we're not gonna list you because you're using too many stock photos. So be unique in your content.
absolutely. There's a time and place to use the stock photos, and typically where I use them um, is for background images on a website. So,
Mhm.
a good example is right now at the time of this conversation, I'm building a lead generation page for a local car dealer that offers second chance or subprime financing or bad credit used car financing. And so I grabbed a stock photo of a woman driving away in a convertible with her hands up in the air cheering, and that's going to be sitting in behind just the squeeze page. Now, I'm not trying to optimize this for the search engines. This is basically is going to be a tool that's used in conjunction with his offline marketing to generate leads. But one thing that you can do to actually use theft of your photo, uh, theft or borrowing of your photo to your advantage is, and I'll actually have to create a short video to show people how to do this. But if you go to your photo and you right click on the properties, right click on your photo and go to properties, you can actually embed on that photo the link to your website that you're using this. Which now, anytime somebody borrows or steals your picture, there is actually embedded in that picture a link to your website, which, there's more content you have out there. If it gets stolen, okay, it gets stolen, but now you can use it to benefit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And but do that on your own photos. Don't try to, swipe it or change the properties on somebody else's photo because that can get you into trouble. And as far as watermarking, I agree with that. And don't be shy of putting on a watermarks to the point of, and I'm digressing on the content here, but you know, a low life scumbag stole this picture and used it on his website for a watermark. I can guarantee you won't have duplicate content that way.
And I see people with photos all the time. I mean, they're shared everywhere, and you need to protect what you put out there, but you also need to tell people that you are unique in what you do, and there are hundreds of different website templates and whatnot, and they're great. But I think one of the things that you need to realize is that when people go to your site, maybe they've already gone to your competitors. If they see that same image on your site or their site or a competitor's site, what are they to think? Oh, wow, he's sharing the same photo or he copied that website. It's just best to use your original content.
No, I agree 100%. And, you know, right now, I mean, we're talking about content that you put on your website, whether it be the written word, images, even photos, or audio recordings for that matter.
Mhm.
Uh, Make sure that it's yours and it's unique, it's relevant, it's recent, and it provides value to your visitor. One of the benefits of using lots of content, and this is going to fly in the face of everything that most web designers who are traditionally trained as graphic designers first and dabble into web design, is that use lots of content. Break it up, use the concepts of writing sales copy on your website. Don't have short little paragraphs. If ideally you want to have at least 250 words, preferably more. And the reason for this is that you're offering lots of valuable information. And if you're, and again, I'm going to use a caveat: don't be boring. Be yourself, be natural, provide the information, talk about what you're passionate about, but have lots of copy on your site. Have lots of images on your site. Have lots of video on your site. Goes back to what I talked about in the last chapter about stickiness and the bounce rate. You don't want people bouncing back. Actually, it wasn't the last chapter, it was earlier in this chapter. You don't want people bouncing back. What you want is people staying on your site. The longer they stay on your site, that's actually watched by Google.
Right.
When someone goes from Google to your website, they're tracking how long are they there. How do I know this? I see this on analytics all the time. How long is the average time someone's on my site? So you want content there to hold people on your site. You want to grab them, hold them, keep them there. And the longer you're there, the higher your value score will go up. Even if
Mhm.
people do bounce back, your value score is still there. So you want to make sure you have content. Um, Matt Cutts, the public voice of Google, and for some people, the god of SEO. Um, made a very interesting comment last year. He says, the best way to SEO your site is to not SEO. And what he's saying is, don't try to trick the system. Don't try to exploit the loopholes. We're going to find them. We're going to close them. We're going to shut you down if you do. And what I tell my clients, and I've shared this with Rob and a few others, is that I hate to say it, I'm not smarter than the people that are Google. They got some of the smartest people in the world working there. And if I was smarter than they were, I wouldn't be doing this video right now. I'd be working for Google. So why am I going to try to outsmart people smarter than me? I might get lucky once or twice,
Mhm.
but sooner or later, I'm going to be found out. I'm going to be caught. I'm going to be stopped. I'm going to be shut down. And if this is a client site that I did this with, then I've done my client a disservice by trying to game the system. So
Right.
anyone that's watching or reading this, my first suggestion is and always will be is forget about trying to optimize for the search engines when you write your content. Optimize your content for the user and their user and the user experience. You do that, you will be rewarded.
And it's all common sense. And I have people that come to me and they say, well, I want to rank for this particular keyword. And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? If you're Coca-Cola, great. Rank Coca-Cola. Everybody recognizes Coca-Cola. But if you're, some carpet cleaner in Lancaster, PA, or Winnipeg, or in basically any country of the world, carpet cleaning is so generic. You know, so don't try to say, well, I'm the king of carpet cleaning because it's not going to work. The keyword. Or I'm a kitchen remodeler. You know what? I wrote an article about kitchen remodeling, and when you type in kitchen remodeling, you got a billion choices. I don't know about you, but I don't want to stick in front of Google and page and go through all this billions of search results. I don't have that time. I want the information that's on page one. Well, how do I get that information? Well, instead of using keywords, use key phrases. So if I'm looking for a carpet cleaner, I want to be able to look for the particular city that I'm in. So let's say carpet cleaner Lancaster. Ah, okay. Now I come up. Great. Upholstery cleaner Lancaster. Whatever your city town is, incorporate that into your website, because I see so many websites that have no indication of where they are, no indication of any phone number, maybe an opt-in box. But if there is no indication where they're from, Google is not going to rank them properly. And the consumer is going to, if they stumble on the site, they're going to say, well, okay, let me call them. And it could be, 3,000 miles away. So make sure that when you're doing your website that you look for the key phrases that people are going to naturally type in, because you're going to get a better quality consumer and not just thousands of people looking at your site. Because honestly, I would rather have one customer come to me for my site that's going to spend a lot of money than thousands of people looking at my site that aren't going to give me anything.
Well,
And it all
that's
comes down to quality versus quantity.
absolutely. And you know what? The same thing goes now with content. At one time, and as recently as 2 years ago, when I would be consulting and working with my clients, I said, let's get all this content put together. Let's get it out there. You know, there's an old joke, an old bumper sticker I used to see. Whoever dies with the most toys wins. And I kind of modified that. Whoever has the most content and links out there wins. Well, I've modified that in the last 2 years because of the changes with the search engines, and particularly Google, and that is the one who has the most quality content out there wins. So we're going to talk. I'd like to talk briefly now that we talked about content on your website. Let's talk about content that you put out everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and now, and as you'll discover as we go on, you'll find that I'm a huge fan of video, just because of the power of distribution video gives you and the ability to send your message out. And what's really cool is video is one of those things that you don't get penalized for um, duplicate content, because
Hmm.
it's a video, it's not a written word. So I can put out the same video on YouTube and Dailymotion and have both of them rank on the same front page of Google, which is really a cool effect. So what I would like to talk about is getting your content out everywhere. And right now, really, we're on the cusp where the new SEO is publishing, getting your content everywhere. Now, there's different types of publishing. I mean, we've got the videos, good example is this Hangout. We're recording it, we're publishing it. It's going to be sitting on a YouTube channel and published everywhere. And the really cool thing about doing that is that uh, we're now creating content that I can link back to my site, link back to our book site, link back to Rob's site, and it's high quality content that is going to help enhance our site. And if we put this video on our site, say on our podcast, um, that too is just video and something that's going to hold people there and make our site even stickier and keep people there. So right now, the biggest reason I love video, and I'm going to use this particular broadcast as a good example. Rob and I are sitting 2,000 miles apart, give or take a couple hundred miles, and we're communicating with you via the live broadcast. When we're done, we'll have the content in this broadcast transcribed. Now, we can now take that same content and that's been transcribed, we're going to use that to create a chapter in a book that we're co-authoring together based on what we're sharing today. We can turn that into articles. I can take the video that we're creating, not only have it on a YouTube channel, but have it syndicated everywhere with other video sharing sites, Dailymotion being one of my favorites. Uh, we can then take that content with the book, get it published on Amazon. That is a really powerful link back to our website because with Amazon, they give you an author page. Amazon is one of those sites that's too big to slap, so a link back to your site from Amazon, even though it would be a no-follow link in most cases, is still a valuable link. The audio from this we can strip out and turn that into an audio podcast, publish it on iTunes, and again, link back from iTunes to our website, adding value to our website. And we'll discuss that further when we go into building links in the further chapter. But again, one of the things we talked about in this here was content, content, content. Content on your site, the type of content on your site, but more importantly, putting your content everywhere. It's a concept that the ISY concept. I see you everywhere. You want that with your local market. You want people to see you on podcasts or hear you on podcasts, see you on video, see your website, see you on social media. They want, you want to be out there and you want to be everywhere and creating content, publishing and syndicating high quality content is going to get you found everywhere. Yes, Google is good. Don't get me wrong. I love Google. Google gives us a lot of traffic. But the second largest search engine out there is YouTube. You know, if you want to find the answer to any question, search for it on Google or YouTube. You'll find a solution. Oftentimes you'll see a huge list of solutions of people offering you how-to videos on whatever problem it is that you have. Um, it's eclipsed Yahoo and Bing. as far as being a search engine. There's directories everywhere. Okay, if you're into business to business selling, one of the great social networks is LinkedIn. But even LinkedIn is an opportunity for you to share content. What I love about LinkedIn, and we should cover this in a chapter, but you can build a business website on LinkedIn. You can publish content on LinkedIn. You can syndicate your videos from YouTube on LinkedIn. You can put your content out everywhere where your customers are hanging out. What it does is it establishes credibility, it establishes celebrity, it establishes you as the expert, and it positions you above all your competition so that you don't have to worry about dealing with price shoppers. You're dealing with people already that know, like, and trust and are motivated to buy from you. That's why, in my opinion,
and
content is so important.
and don't forget social sharing sites, because now your content is out there for other people to see, and it's going to give you a direct link back. What I've noticed over the last few months is that LinkedIn and Facebook are really starting to get traction on Google, which didn't happen before. Google is opening up the search parameters to include what you post on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's become a welcome to a lot of the people that are using social share systems, networks, to enhance what they're doing. And so, it's always, you're creating content, so you might as well share it everywhere you can.
No, absolutely. And you know what? Simplest, easiest way to share content or to create content is um, it's a principle that I learned a couple of years ago from a mentor of mine by the name of Mike Koenigs, and it's what we call the 10 by 10 videos. And essentially, what that is when someone comes to your business, I'm sure that you can come up with 10 or more questions that you're frequently asked besides how much do you charge. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you can also come up with a number of questions you wish people would ask you. So what I teach our clients and what I do with our clients to create content is we will do uh, videos on the frequently asked questions. We'll do videos on the questions that people should ask. And the video content is something that we'll then syndicate out to create valuable backlinks. But at the same time, the content, the transcriptions can be compiled into the valuable content people see on a web page, the valuable content people see on a LinkedIn page, valuable content or excerpts you put on a Facebook post for your fan page or your group page. Um, it can be shared everywhere. Or, hey,
Right.
do what we've done a few times, take all that content and turn it into a book or booklet or a consumer guide or buyer's
Right.
guide that you can hand out to position your business. So,
Well, in my other book, Share 27 Ways, it's a social media book, but it touches on video usage. And what I instruct people to do is one question, one video. So you pose the question, introduce yourself, you answer the question, and you tell people how to contact you. And you do it in under 3 minutes. So, every question becomes a video, and now you're out there. Your videos, or you could make hundreds of them, thousands of them. Make a couple a day, and now they're peripheralating, and they're out there, and they're helping you, and they're gaining traction and making you the authority. So now people are searching for whatever keyword they're looking for. If it's you, they're going to find your blogs. They're going to find your search end. I mean your website. They're going to find your social networks. They're going to find your videos. Now they have a choice between picking you, and you. Your competitors are bullied off the screen.
absolutely. And here's the thing. One of the questions I get is or some of the resistance I get from people when it comes to creating video content is, I don't know how to do it. Well, let me eliminate your excuses right now. Uh, Most people have a smartphone on their hip. I haven't gone over the dark side. I've got a Samsung. Uh, but
I have
I
a nice
have,
iPhone.
there you go. Rob, I'm your father. Uh, Other part that we'll edit out later on for the book. But
Or
there
keep
is,
it.
or keep it. But there's more broadcast power in this phone than most television studios had 20 years ago. You can shoot a higher quality video with higher definition. You have the ability to attach right here at the top on mine a lavalier mic, so I have great high quality audio, and I can create a video. I have an application here to edit video, and then when I'm done, I can push it out to all the services I want to syndicate it to.
Mhm.
And if I really wanted to get creative, I have another application on here that would also record that audio separately, and I can take that same video and use it as a podcast.
Mhm.
And the really cool thing about that application is it also cleans up the audio. So it takes out the background noise, the hiss, and the pops, and
Mhm.
cleans it up, and equalizes the volume. So there might be times when I might sound like I'm far, far away, and really, really close. And it will take the levels and equal it out for me so you don't blast ears or have people raising the volume. That's what's available on your smartphone. It is so easy to create content right now. It's just a matter of, have a story and then use the rest of your content to kind of prove what your story does. Again, we go into this a little later, but about the hero's journey, where they have a hope or a wish, and then the challenge and the overcome, and the how they've overcome that challenge and the results, and then the transcendence from before and to after. You see that on just about every big movie right now, the hero's journey. And there's actually a really cool YouTube video, and I'll find the link for it when we do the editing for the book on the hero's journey, uh, done with puppets. It's hilarious. You'll laugh your full head off. Um, but again, don't let fear or the lack of expertise in creating content stop you. You have all the expertise you have inside you. You are the expert on you and your business. Share that knowledge, share that expertise, and put that up on your website. And if you're someone that's building a website for a client, if you want to become an expert in their business, then this is great, because now you can get all your questions answered. You can get the expertise downloaded on a video, and you don't have to worry about how good your notes are, because now you have a video record. And you can
Mhm.
transfer their knowledge, their skills, their ability, their expertise onto their web page. They're going to look good, and you're going to be a hero. So, again, although primarily we're looking for business owners that want to optimize it. Yeah, I know some of our competitors are going to come in and check this out. So, I've often heard the best way to demoralize a competitor is to teach them how to beat you. That's how you beat us. Record video interviews with your client, get the transcripts, use that as content on their site. Then they're going to start competing with our clients on the
You
front end.
know, I get so many calls from web designers, companies all over the United States, asking me if I can train their people to do proper SEO. And I'm thinking, yeah, I could do that, but you're going to have to pay a lot, because now I'm training your people to think and act like me. And honestly, I think once they have that ability, they will leave and start their own company. And it's nice to get your competitors calling you, but they don't understand the concepts that I have to go through to make sure that a page is, optimized. And yeah, I'd be glad to teach you. But like I said, um, maybe we will. Maybe we'll have a nice course, but I don't think I'm going to reveal everything I know. I gotta hold some things back.
Well, Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. It's an evolutionary thing. So we can teach you everything we know, but it's still um, inherent upon you to continue adding to your knowledge and skill. Because
Hmm.
yes, we're really good at what we do. Are we the only experts? I wish we were, but we're not. And there's a lot of people out there that if you are a serious student of our craft of search engine optimization, you'll learn from us, but you'll learn from others as well. And you know, take what's good and just get rid of the crap. Um, but again, if you do nothing else but create, produce, and syndicate high quality content on your websites and on syndication sites, then you're going to go a long, long ways to becoming the search engine bully and beating up your competition and kicking them off the front page of Google, like the playground bully kicking everybody else off the top of the play structures. So to help you go further with that, in the next chapter and episode, we're going to be talking to you about some more basics, and this is going to be keyword research and how you can go ape. So make sure
Hmm.
you're in for that because if you get this one thing right, everything else falls in place and makes search engine optimization a simple, easy process for you.
And when you go ape, you'll have a better understanding of the keywords, how to use them, why to use them, and what attracts consumers to your website better.